When that Costa Rica anthem first started, the Brazilian supporters inside this stadium were still singing a second verse of their own national anthem. That's why it was so noisy. And then they observed the anthem of Costa Rica, which was being sung passionately by 1, 2, 3, 4 small chunks of Costa Rican supporters in separate parts of the ground in little blocks of red. It's not a sellout. The stadium holds 67,000, two-tier, compact, futuristic look. Described it on Tuesday night as like a spaceship. That's what it's known as, the Spaceship Stadium, to some at least. But there are a lot of yellow shirts around this fantastic arena. But equally, Pat Nevin, disappointingly, the boys in Brazil, there are still quite a lot of empty blue seats.
Yeah, particularly directly ahead of us, and we had this the other night at this stadium where there was a big group of seats right in front of us that they didn't come back out until 15 minutes after the start of the second half, missing 2 goals. So it may well be that that's generally corporate, that little bit, but you're right, all around the stadium there are gaps here and there. There's got to be about 50-odd thousand in here, and to be fair, what a big number of Brazilians are here considering the size of the distance.
Talking of disappointments, Brazil aren't wearing the yellow shirts. I always like to see the yellow shirts and the blue shorts, and instead, and I wonder why, they're all in blue against Costa Rica in the white with the black shoulders.
Yeah, it's always a...
Oh, it's because of the referees.
Yeah, the referees... hopefully the decision was not made on what the referees were. I'm sure that's not the case. It never has been the case in the past. I suppose now and again, sometimes when it's drawn, who is the home, who is the away side, but I'm looking at the start list here, and Brazil come first, so they would probably choice of which shirt to wear.
Talking about who's going to start first, a nice little story. The Pakistani teenager Ahmed Raza performed the coin toss ahead of the game. It marks the first time that a Pakistani will be present at a World Cup match in an official capacity. He's a huge fan, is Ahmed Raza, of the Brazilian side, and in particular Neymar, as the Brazilians still form that huddle away to our left-hand side. This is the Brazilian team. They were going to go same again, however, late injury to Manchester City's Danilo means that Fagner starts at right back, so Alisson's in goal. It's a back four of Fagner, Thiago Silva, Miranda and Marcelo, Casemiro and Paulinho in the centre of midfield, with Coutinho, Willian and Neymar behind Gabriel Jesus. For Costa Rica, Navas is in goal, a back three of Acosta, Gonzalez and Duarte, Gamboa and Oviedo, right and left wing backs respectively, Guzman and Borges in the centre of midfield, Venegas and Brian Ruiz to try and offer some support to Marco Urina. Unlike Tuesday night when we were here, when it tipped it down ahead of kick-off, the second match for Brazil is underway to cheers here in the sunshine of St. Petersburg. And certainly Costa Rica, who were the surprise package 4 years ago in Brazil, in England's group, remember, who would have thought that they would have topped that group ahead of Uruguay, Italy and England. Well, they need to bounce back, otherwise if another defeat after losing to Serbia, and they are out.
Do you know, the other thing is, even though Argentina, lost the game badly last night and it looks as if they're going home and the Brazilians will celebrate, there's a little bit in the back of their mind must be thinking, oh, but for the grace of God, they've got a point for the first game. They cannot afford to make a mess of this one.
No, they certainly can't. Would you believe as well, when Brazil didn't win their opening game, it was the first time ever that Brazil, Germany and Argentina all failed to win their opening World Cup game, which tells you everything about those three. And of course Argentina last night losing, as you'd have heard on 5 Live, to Croatia. Brazil in the all blue, playing from left to right. Costa Rica at the heart of their defence is Giancarlo Gonzalez, and then Johnny Acosta back towards Keylor Navas, who puts his right foot through that, and then it just comes away and brought under control by his Real Madrid teammate Casemiro. Well, it might not be full, but the Brazilian supporters are in full voice. And talking of voices, and Pat Nevin tried to embarrass me the other night when we were here, when he said you called the England game spot on, you said this, you said that.
You did.
I'm going to embarrass Pat because he did a sterling job in nursing me through, and the voice is back in operation. But thank you to Pat for his a team effort on Tuesday evening as Russia beat Egypt by 3-1. It was very much appreciated. Not required today, Pat. You're back in the role of summariser rather than commentator.
And our nation celebrates not having to listen to me whittering on for such a long time.
Neymar over the halfway line. Marcelo just tries to stab it into the path of Coutinho. He flicks it back to Casemiro. Bald-headed figure of Miranda. Thiago Silva, who captain for the first time since 2014. He was actually suspended for the capitulation against Germany in that semi-final in Belo Horizonte. Who will ever forget that dramatic night, as here the boys from Brazil are trying to get up and running in Group E, bearing in mind their final game is against Serbia, who won their opening fixture. And Serbia against Switzerland is our 7 o'clock commentary. This is the first of 3 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Wagner in towards Jesus, couldn't take it in his stride. Clearance, Brian Ruiz gives it away. Coutinho with a shot, right-footed, edge of the area, always on the rise, over the bar. 0-0, 5 Live, Pat Nevin.
Do you know what, there's just a little feeling about them. I know they started the other game the other night and they had a good 20 minutes against the Swiss, but there's a real little buzz about that team there. You look at Gabriel Jesus, he's in the mood for it. He didn't get that turn right there, but boy, he was close to it. And then the ball goes to Coutinho. He looks sharp and up for it just now.
Little flick header by Brian Ruiz. It's held up by Marco Urena. Thiago Silva says this one is mine. Tite, the 57-year-old coach, has just rotated the captaincy, much to the annoyance of the Brazilian media. Willian in field, Paulinho over the halfway line. The referee, Bjorn Kuipers from Holland, almost got in the way. Spread out towards the left-hand side. Neymar quickly helps it on towards Marcelo on the overlap. Back towards Neymar, infield to Coutinho. Midway through the Costa Rica half, they have everybody back behind the ball in their predominantly white shirts, bar Urena. Here is Willian, familiar figure. Bushy hair of the Chelsea player as he comes in field. And finds Marcelo, tries to slide it forward towards Neymar, stopped. That was by Gamboa on that far side, chipped into the penalty area, looking for the run of Jesus, headed away though by the central figure of Giancarlo Gonzalez. Urena provided the outlet, but Thiago and Miranda back towards the goalkeeper Alisson in the sunshine.
That will really lift certainly the Costa Rican fans and their players as well. That break there gets them to a fantastic position. Not much pace between the two of them. Urena, I thought he was just about to get away from Thiago Silva there, who made a good last-ditch defensive tackle, but it was last-ditch. It had to be.
5 minutes played, BBC Radio 5 Live, the first of 3 World Cup commentaries for you today. And some news from the England camp. We'll be hearing from Gareth Southgate at half-time as Costa Rica, Brian Ruiz turns into trouble, and Costa will clear it away over on that far side. Picks out Johan Venegas. Gareth Southgate has confirmed that Dele Alli is unlikely to play against Panama. He's not returned to full training with the rest of the squad. We'll be hearing from Gareth Southgate at half-time. England, of course, playing against Panama. 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. It is on BBC television. Terrific viewing figures, but remember, BBC TV, when it's on the television, you have the option, press the red button, you can listen to the 5 Live commentary. It does give you that option. So that'll be the case then for Nigeria against Iceland and Serbia against Switzerland from 4 and 7 later on. You can watch it and listen to 5 Live as you do. Brian Ruiz to take a throw. No, he's not. He's going to leave it for Oviedo on this near side. The Sunderland player gets it back from the former Fulham player, Brian Ruiz. Still very elegant on the ball, tall and lean, just strokes it in field. Urena lays it off. Guzman couldn't take it in his stride, couldn't get the shot away. It's going to come out to Gamboa, 30 yards out, right-footed, always on the rise, well off target. 0-0, 5 Live, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I think the Celtic player got a little bit carried away there, but it's a little bit of a lift I think you've got. We listened to Tim Vickery at the start of the game, and he was talking about, you know, the way the Brazilians sat a little bit too deep in that second half of the game against Switzerland. And oddly enough, he's spot on, because they've tried to push that a little bit further up right at the start of this game. But I think Costa Rica feel as if they can catch Brazil on the break. They've already looked dangerous a couple of times, and although Brazil have got much more of the ball and look much more dangerous on the ball, there is no doubt Costa Rica are a danger on the break.
Brazil are going to have a throw on this right-hand side. Goes back to Thiago Silva, just short of the halfway line. Brazil all in blue. Marcelo's going to move out towards the left-hand side. Coutinho now will find the Real Madrid player, and then back to Coutinho, who scored the goal in that 1-1 draw against Switzerland, and it was a fine effort too. Coutinho, who's got a good scoring record, 7 goals in his last 6 for club and country. Here is Willian. Willian flicks it out. Fagner, the right back, midway through the Costa Rica half. Paulinho, Thiago Silva. Every outfield player is in the Costa Rica half. They're forced to retreat though back inside their own territory. Here is Miranda on the edge of the centre circle, just strokes it forward. Casemiro now will float it back out towards Fagner. Good control, instant off his right foot. Infield to Paulinho. Just got stuck underneath his feet a little bit, and Costa Rica have retreated, and this is where the white shirts now are back behind the ball, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, we've spotted this so many teams in the past, and you know, Iceland did it the other night. You get almost a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1, and it's hard to break through that. I mean, any team at this level, it's going to be hard to break through, but it's the intelligence of the movement you're going to get from the Brazilians. Neymar going inside instead of staying far left and allowing Marcelo to go up wide of him. That might be a big part of their game today. Well, they don't play together, but they've got good understanding.
Willian, right-hand side of the penalty area. Willian with a cutback, partially cleared, comes out to Fagner. The right-back just couldn't get under the ball under control. He's helped win it back, though. Willian then goes down under a challenge. Just a simple barge from behind. Willian, no hesitation. There was contact, there was a foul, just outside the right corner of the penalty area. Free kick, Brazil.
Yeah, and the Costa Ricans are furious just now because they felt that they didn't get the foul from the tackle from the back. Difference is, they didn't get the ball. They tried to tackle from the back. Nice little neat tackle there. I think it's from Coutinho, gets the ball back, and it leads to a fairly dangerous area. I mean, you would say with most teams this is a simple cross, but you've got Brazil here. Willian, he's lining up as if he's going to take it with his left foot. No chance. This is Neymar.
Neymar's going to take it. Willian has just moved away level the penalty area, about 10-12 yards away from him if he wants to play it out wide right. Brazil playing from left to right as we look. Jesus is lurking. Miranda's up from the back, as is Thiago Silva. Neymar's going to take it. Brazil are in all blue, playing from left to right. Neymar waits, it's a stutter. He then waits, comes back again, just to see who's going to make the run. Miranda makes the run as well. In it goes now, just over the head of Miranda. Doesn't quite come out towards Coutinho. He's lost the ball, actually, Coutinho. And Brian Ruiz will clear up towards Urena. But they had both fullbacks to deal with the striker, both Marcelo and Fagner. And it's with Alisson, the Roma goalkeeper, back out, passing the ball towards Marcelo on the left-hand side. 0-0, 5 live, 10 minutes played. Again,
usual thing from Costa Rica, trying to play in the break. As soon as he got the ball under control there, he hits it long. Now, he's outnumbered, 2-1 up there, but, Fagner's not the tallest. He's, I think he's about 5'6", roughly about that. And obviously Marcelo's no giant either, so playing the ball long, trying to use that height a little bit, but they need more than that. They need the skill and the pace, and he never looked as if he was going to beat those two.
There have actually just been a few more fans arrived quite late, I would think, because the amount of blue seats, particularly on the top tier, seem to have been filled now. So whether it was because they closed the roads on the approach to the stadium here, in the beautiful city of St. Petersburg, situated on the Baltic Sea, the Gulf of Finland, Russia's second largest city, which we've had the pleasure to wander around for the last few days. Before we go off on our travels, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, an intriguing thing's happened here. The ball's just been kicked out of play there by Miranda. The way he's standing, has he lost a contact lens or something? No, I think it's just a bloody nose he's got, yeah.
Casemiro's got a bloody nose. You're right, though, the way his head was being pulled as he ran to the side, wasn't it? He was just keeping it in, tucked in. But he's got a bloody nose, and what he was doing was actually just keeping it down. So Casemiro's got a bloody nose. Brazil are temporarily down to 10.
I still think they'll get most of the possession, even with 10 men of controlling the game. Now, they played really nicely and neatly, but let's be fair, I think the Costa Ricans will be delighted. 10 minutes into the game, no real clear-cut chances. No. One shot from Coutinho, flashed over the crossbar. Other than that, they've kept them at arm's length.
Yes, it's been a very slow start by Brazil. No penetration in the final third really in these opening 12 minutes. Casemiro has been patched up, he's back on the pitch. Here is Neymar, criticised for a lacklustre display against Switzerland, and he was fouled 10 times, which was the most in a World Cup game since a certain Alan Shearer was fouled 11 occasions by Tunisia back in the World Cup 98. So they had the shackles on him, but at the same time it still wasn't a fully fit Neymar putting on the star-studded display to lift his side as Costa Rica will come forward. And Costa Rica with Gamboa with the cutback. Oh! Celso Borges arriving late into the penalty area, right-footed, didn't strike the target, pulled it wide. Best opportunity of the game so far.
Oh, well done, Gamboa, and the build-up to that play. He's hammered forward. Now, this is the man that's supposed to be marking Neymar for the vast majority of the time. He's thrown forward there, but a great little cutback. To be fair, he probably has to get that on target. In fact, he definitely has to get that on target. He's only 8 yards out. It's a slightly acute angle, but he knows that is a monumental chance. They don't get that many chances. They will not get a huge amount. That's a big one.
Well, Costa Rica have scored just one of their last 31 attempts at a World Cup. That won't necessarily constitute an attempt because it was off target, but it was a very good.
It's a chance. It's definitely a chance.
Got to be taking those against Brazil. They'll be buoyed by that. You can see there's a little bit of a lift there as they want the players on the ball. Guzman, Borges, the other central midfielder. Here is Oviedo. Ruiz is ahead of him on the halfway line. Here he is, Brian Ruiz, languid style as ever, back, and then Oscar Duarte all the way towards Keylor Navas.
Watching what's happening over on that right hand side, Neymar playing against Gamboa, and so far Gamboa is winning that quite easily, and Neymar seems very, very strangely lacklustre out there. It's as if he is carrying a little bit of an injury. He's lost the ball in possession twice, he's given away a free kick, and he's been incredibly peripheral. It is early on in the game, but Gamboa's going to give him a hard time. And by the way, Gamboa's not just sitting on him, he wants to run off him, and he's doing just that right now.
14 minutes played, still goalless, yet to have a goalless game in this World Cup as Borges comes forward, picks out Urena, back towards Borges. The two continue to exchange. That was a very well-timed challenge by Casemiro because Urena was going to have an effort there from long distance. Oviedo shot one in from 35 yards out. That struck the side of the legs of Brian Ruiz, couldn't quite fall for him. But Costa Rica here are not just sitting back, they are venturing forward. Guzman now is being talked to by the referee. If this results in a yellow card, then David Guzman is going to miss the next game.
I think that, from first viewing of that, I think that would be incredibly hard. He's just gone into it. You know what? He's stood in the foot of Neymar. That's what's happened, and that has been possibly the most common feature of any type of foul in this World Cup so far, standing in players' feet. And I mean, I kept on thinking in the early times I was watching this, oh, that's just a shame, it's a mistake, it's not deliberate. It's happening that often now. I'm beginning to wonder if it is a little bit more deliberate more often than I think.
The voice of Pat Nevin on 5 Live with quarter of an hour played here in St. Petersburg. Miranda strokes it towards Thiago Silva. Just one opportunity, off target by Coutinho. Jesus hasn't had a sniff so far. Neymar yet to really make any impact in the final third. Here he is collecting the ball left hand side. It's the Costa Rica supporters who are celebrating. A large chunk of red behind that goal in one section, behind the goal of Keylor Navas, as it's still 0-0. Willian midfield, Coutinho steps over it through to Marcelo. A stationary Neymar then.
Yeah, he's just going backwards every time he gets the ball. Watch his first touch here. He gets the ball, goes backwards. Yes, he takes a hit, and he's going to get plenty of hits. He's had a couple already in this game. But when you get the ball, if you run towards a defender and you've got him going backwards and he fouls you, you'll be going at a pace, and the free kick will look worse, and the referee's much more likely to give a yellow card. But the way Neymar's getting it just now, it's what Tim was talking about before, Tim Vickey was talking about before the game. He gets it, he goes backwards, he almost asks for the foul. Do you know what? Those are easy fouls.
Neymar or Marcelo. You'd imagine it'd be Neymar to curl this one in. An in-swinging free kick, 30 yards out from goal. Indeed it is, in from Neymar. Headed away though by Gonzalez for Costa Rica. and brought clear by Guzman, but he's shown too much to Marcelo. Willian's back there helping out, and he'll tidy up all the way back towards the Brazilian goalkeeper, Alisson.
We watched a game here the other night where Egypt were playing against Russia, and I spoke a lot about Mo Salah because there's so much. He was such a big part of the game for one of the teams, and the Egyptians were so psychologically negatively affected by the fact that, you know, he wasn't fully fit. He can take the ball his normal ways. I'm watching exactly the same thing happening with Neymar just now. Do you know what? If Neymar's not on it, get the ball to Willian, get the ball to Coutinho, get the ball to Gabriel Jesus. They're all top players.
I'm watching Neymar. His body language is interesting. When he was fouled before for that free kick, he didn't place it down and then want to make a move. I'm not saying he's sulking, but he's not moving. But he is there. That was delightful skill. Oh yes, well, have a little bit more of that, thank you, Neymar, as he lifts the ball over the head of Gamboa.
Do you know, you're right. You're absolutely right. We've waited 17 minutes to see that first, maybe nearly 18 minutes to see that first. Lovely bit of skill. Do you know what? You've absolutely got that. Do it more often than not. Every time you get the ball, your first step should be forward, running towards the defender. Look what happens when you did it. He's been marked. The next one will be a yellow card, without a shadow of a doubt, because it was a forward-running foul that was played against him.
But he's been subdued so far in these opening 18 minutes as Neymar, but he's going to take this free kick 10 yards in from the far touchline, the left-hand side. Brazil playing from left to right. Neymar, plenty of elevation, too high, and gathered in by Keylor Navas, the Costa Rican goalkeeper. And now he's actually feeling his face.
Yeah, it feels as if I don't know, I think it was Miranda, I'm not sure. Miranda's running behind him. It was Miranda running behind him. He's caught him with his shoulder, accidentally, deliberately, on purpose, if you know what I mean.
Here is Costa Rica on the attack. Venegas with the cross, takes a deflection, gathered in by the goalkeeper Alisson. That was at the Ramos school of defending, wasn't it? Accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, that's actually very disappointing there. That you know, it could have been yellow card for that, and it'd been the stupidest, silliest yellow card of the competition so far. We got away with it though.
Patches of white clouds, patches of blue sky. The sun continues to shine here in St. Petersburg. Yesterday it tipped it down. Felt very much like we were back in England. It was here. Weather can fluctuate as Miranda passes the ball across his penalty area to Wagner. And Wagner will pass it forward on this right-hand side. Willian has been tightly marked by Oviedo, and then Willian goes back towards Alisson, and he manages to get the ball out from underneath his feet. There's no Caballero repeat there for Argentina after last night's gaff. And now Coutinho has a little bit of space, able to turn, forward ball. Can't get Jesus into the game.
No, they can't, and to be honest, that's very unusual to see Coutinho play a ball like that. It was precisely the right angle, but the pace was awful. He's just fired it in there. There's no way in the world that Gabriel Jesus was going to get on the end of that one. So it's actually been slightly disappointing these last 5 or 10 minutes from Brazil. They've got plenty of possession, but I think Costa Rica is slowly but surely getting a little bit more confidence in this game.
Costa Rica, let's not forget, have created the best opportunity of the game so far. Borges pulling his effort wide after Gamboa's cut back from the right-hand side. They're playing in their white shirts with the black patches on their shoulders, white shorts and white socks from right to left. 20 minutes played, 0-0. And not much movement here for Gamboa, only on the fringes during his time with Celtic this season. Just the 3 appearances in that double treble winning squad.
It's hard to tell why the way he started today, because he started very, very well today. Actually, I know why, because Lustig is a very good player.
And the ball is back out with Gamboa. Volleys the ball over, in comes the cross. Wagner, the right back, tucked in, covering. Volleys the ball away. It's going to come straight back though, because Costa Rica with, that was Oscar Duarte at the back. Now it's with Giancarlo Gonzalez. No real pressure. Always play the same way ever since he's taken charge. Oscar Ramirez from the disgraced Paulo Wanchop, when he struck a steward for a game in Panama. He was the former assistant, stepped up, appointed August 2015. He's always played the same way. Every formation. Actually played at Italia 90 as well, which was the first ever World Cup. How did they fare in that pack?
No comment.
Couldn't resist a little dig.
I'm still reeling from the Peru comments earlier as well. Never mind Costa Rica.
It's 0-0. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. Brazil 0, Costa Rica 0. Brazil have been awarded a free kick, but it's been flat. Brazil.
They've gone very flat. First 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, come out the blocks really quickly. They were lively, they were sharp. Everybody seems to want to go on the ball. And then they've just kind of thought, we expect something to happen for us. But that's not the way it works. You've got to make it happen.
So this free kick, it's right of centre. It is midway through the Costa Rica half. Costa Rica have a high line just on the edge of the D. Neymar's going to take it. It's floated over in towards the penalty area, but the header is well off target by Thiago Silva. Not going to trouble Keylor Navas in the extreme. Had it well covered.
Yeah, it is a little sad. As I mentioned before, the fact that you've got such fabulous players, midfield to attack in that Brazil side just now. But it does seem to all kind of go through Neymar, and if Neymar's not having a good day for whatever reason, and so far it's been a relatively quiet day, and that can change, we do know that, but you'd like to spread it about a much. I suppose as a player, former player, you're looking and you're thinking, if I was playing out the right here and I'm Willian, I'm thinking, could you give me the ball now and again, please? Because I'd like to go and have a go at them as well and ask a different question.
Don't forget, Gareth Southgate's coming up at half-time. We'll be hearing from the England manager ahead of their next match. It's on Sunday. It's 1 o'clock kickoff against Panama. We'll be hearing from Gareth Southgate. Dele Alli unlikely to play. And this weekend, over 40 hours of live sport on 5 Live Sport and Sports Extra, as Jesus can't feed it into to Marcelo, stopped by Costa Rica. Whether it's that game in Nizhny Novgorod, the Rugby Union, the third test, South Africa against England. You've got the 5th one-day international, you've got the French Grand Prix. So essentially a working week is condensed into a weekend. And that's our offering for you Saturday and Sunday. We've still got 2 more games to come here in the World Cup today. The weekend starts here, but not with the bang with the boys from Brazil just yet. It's a slow burner, let's be polite. Neymar with a cross.
Again, it's through Neymar. Again, it's too long. It's gone too wide of the goalkeeper. It's very, very lax the way he's playing just now. If his name wasn't Neymar, you'd be saying that guy's having a pretty poor game out there. I would take one player out of it just now. Gabriel Jesus, his movement, his running, his pace has been fabulous. He's just not got him into the game, as you correctly said just a few moments ago. And if I was in Brazil, I would say, well, just get the ball into him and run off him as much as you can. But at the moment it keeps on going through Neymar, and Neymar looks the most lax player out there. And if you had both teams together there.
25 minutes played, still 0-0. Brazil yet to create anything of note. Fagner, the right back, to Casemiro. Marcelo on the halfway line. They're all in blue. They'll be feeling blue if they can't get a victory here, because Brazil, after being held by Switzerland, we're talking about Argentina later, because they'll be paying particular attention to our next commentary, which is Nigeria against Iceland. But Brazil, there isn't that margin for error here after drawing their first game. But it's been a very frustrating watch when you wanted Brazil to come out and play the tricks. They're not firing at all. Here is Marcelo, over the halfway line, urged on by a frustrated crowd. Neymar now with an opportunity to run. Neymar is held up, breaks back to Marcelo, first time shot, Jesus! Flags up, will not count, flag was raised, offside. It will still nevertheless be referred by VAR, but the flag was raised, he did look offside. Jesus rattled the ball past Keylor Navas.
Well, I'm going for about 3 yards offside, maybe even more. I thought it was a country mile offside. We'll have another look here there. Good step up. It was only a yard offside, maybe 2.
Goal disallowed. Brazil 0, Costa Rica 0.
Just a little bit of movement before that. Again, it's Neymar. He makes a move. He loses the ball badly. But what it does is it creates a little bit of space there, and I think that was absolutely brilliant defending. The defender just jumps up, doesn't he? There's no doubt that Gabriel Jesus was onside, but he jumps up before the shot's taken, and by the time he actually did take the shot, 2 yards offside. Sensible defending. If anyone used to watch Arsenal many, many years ago, that's the one.
The other thing to say about that, the referees or the assistant referees have been briefed, haven't they, ahead of the tournament, that if it is tight, don't put your flag up, keep it down. As Neymar gets round the back, Neymar's into the penalty area here, Navas quickly off his goal line, saved with his knees, and Gamboa will clear over on that far side, the right, so that gives you an indication of how far Jesus was offside. But Brazil now coming forward, Coutinho, ball in towards Neymar, the little flick back towards Jesus battling for that ball, makes a foul, gives a free kick to Costa Rica, still 0-0.
But it's so tantalising when you see just those moments when Neymar comes alive. Fabulous angle run from the left hand side there, phenomenal pace, we know all about his pace as well. His first touch was pretty good. To get in the goalkeeper there, it had to be absolute perfection. Wasn't perfection. Goalkeeper Navas comes out, knows exactly what he's doing, and closes them down. But the little moments there, just one or two little moments, we're beginning to see that once again they're all left hand side. So either he does it, the man Neymar, or else no one seems to be able to do it at the moment.
There's some interesting comments from Gareth Southgate coming up from the leaked team, even though it wasn't even a team. It was a squad sheet. Heaven forbid having a squad sheet with 22 players on a piece of paper as Neymar round the back with the cross. That was what echoes the thoughts of what I said to Robbie Savage on his World Cup breakfast show this morning, and he'll be back next Monday. Marcelo fires in a shot, left-footed low, probably was closer than Navas wanted to give it credit for, as he let it whistle wide, probably within a foot of the right-hand post as we look.
The last 3 or 4 minutes have been the way we want to see Brazil play. That's much better. Again, it's all one side, but it doesn't matter. There's movement, there's a little bit of hunger to the team. I think they've realised this game's beginning to slowly but surely pass by. They don't want to go 2 games into the competition and find themselves with 2 points. That is just not the Brazil way. And then that picture you were talking about from the England camp, every single player would look at that and just say, yeah, it's just a number of squad players all written together. There's no big deal there. It's got all the headlines, hilarious.
0-0 here in St. Petersburg. Brazil have had a goal disallowed, but it was well offside by Jesus. Neymar, Marcelo, Coutinho now running in field, he's going to shoot, and it was a curling, dipping, right-footed effort from a good 25 yards out that was just over the crossbar. Pat Nevin 0-0.
Well, he's had a couple of goals now, Coutinho. He's not getting a lot of the ball. I'd like to see him on the ball much more, and that's not because I'm supporting Brazil or anything. It's because I like him as a player and enjoy watching him as a player. He's had 2 little opportunities, both times he's had shots on goal, but not to the quality he's had in the past. But he's getting a little bit closer. They're actually moving about much quicker now, the Brazilian team, and just as I say that, Willian lets the ball go under his feet. He'll complain that I've got very little of the ball so far. When it finally comes to me, I'm not ready for it. I'm afraid that's not a good enough excuse.
There's some whistles there inside in the stadium there, as Willian was unable to control that ball and it goes out of play for a throw. If those came here today to this Zenit Arena, the St. Petersburg Stadium, then they'll be disappointed with what they've seen in this opening half an hour. It's 0-0. Fagner headed on by Paulinho. Stretching was Jesus. Fagner did well to keep the ball towards Marcelo. Neymar on the edge of the area, goes down, upended, no. Gamboa says he got the ball, as does the referee. And Costa Rica will maybe come forward now. The Reina cut out by Thiago Silva. Now, Brazil with Paulinho. Back into the centre circle. Ball forward by Casemiro. Paulinho takes it over. Neymar onside in the penalty area. Neymar, the angle is tight, checks back, works over the cross towards the far post. 2 Costa Rica players there to prevent Jesus heading it, and it goes behind for a goal kick, but no, the flag's raised and it would not have counted anyway. Offside.
Yeah, but we're finally beginning to get something like the game that we were expecting there. Yeah, it was offside as he was going for that one there. He didn't actually get a touch out in the back post there, Gabriel Jesus, but just little bits of moments now. We're beginning to get you excited. To be honest, it's half an hour. We wanted this from minute 1. A little bit better. We're seeing a little bit more of Coutinho now. The game was opened up, a little bit more space in the midfield there, and it's partially because the referee allowed 2 tackles that You know, other referees have been given free kicks for every time anyone falls on the ground. He let 2 go there, or suggested 2 or dives, and because of that the play opened up. The players just got on with a better game.
Brazil is the chant echoing around this stadium here in St. Petersburg, but it's an under par Brazil so far. Argentina sweating, could be even more so in our next commentary. Nigeria against Iceland, and tomorrow Germany against Sweden. That'll be after South Korea against Mexico, so they'll know exactly how that particular group stands. You could have the possibility, if Brazil were to finish top of this group, it could be Brazil-Germany in the last 16. But that's surmising that Brazil are going to finish top, which at the minute is no guarantee. They've got Serbia in their final game, but after drawing against Switzerland, they're going to have to step it up, Pat Nevin. Quick throw taken, Neymar left-hand side, midway through the Costa Rica half. Gamboa says he got the ball again. Neymar went to ground. It's a throw to Brazil. They want to take it quickly, but there's the ball girl is a little bit slow on that far side to hand it to Marcelo.
By the way, he did get the ball. He got the player afterwards, but he got the ball as well.
They've won their last 7 meetings, Brazil against Costa Rica, since 1960. Struggling to find a way through here. Coutinho, midway through the Costa Rica half, drops his shoulder, passes the ball out towards Willian. Right hand side, Fagner makes a run, Willian cuts in field, left-footed, well off target. Again, well off target, left-footed, further whistles.
Yeah, he's cut inside. We've all watched Willian in the Premier League do that time and time again, and curl it towards that back post. He just did not get it out of his feet enough, and he went for the shot. He was a bit panicked. It was not the right thing to do. If the ball's caught in between your feet, there's no way you're going to get that amount of pace on it. But I still think Brazil have dialed it up a little bit now. It's much better in the last 5 or 10 minutes than it was for that very, very dull 10 or 15 minutes. And you think about it, this Costa Rica now going into the final third. It's the first time they've done that in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. Best chance of the game though still created by Costa Rica. It's 0-0, 11 minutes to go to half time, and then back with Kelly Cates in our studio just off Red Square in Moscow, as Marcelo, Casemiro back with Miranda. Will he use Thiago Silva? Yes, he will, the Brazilian captain now. Fagner on the halfway line on this near side, all in blue, Brazil. 10 minutes to go to the break. Coutinho, he's got Marcelo ahead of him. Marcelo actually runs over the ball as it goes through to Neymar. Now back with Coutinho, almost standing still, just a little jog. Passes the ball to Fagner. The right back, Danilo, named in the side yesterday by Tite, and then picked up a thigh problem, so the one change was made. Marcelo, but they're trotting. They're not passing the ball. There's not a great deal of movement in terms of bursts off the ball. They're almost at walking pace, these Brazilian players, as they're stroking it around.
That's actually fine, as long as you pass the ball quickly.
Marcelo's cross from the left-hand side, over the head of Jesus. Defended by Duarte. Brian Ruiz will try and... He just couldn't guide the ball on the counter-attack into the path of Urena, and it goes out of play for a Brazilian throw.
I see your point there, that it doesn't look that lively, but if you've got the ball and you're the likes of Marcelo in the back there, you've got 3 players in front of you. Well, don't run really fast toward 3 players, in white shirts, because you'll probably lose the ball. What you do is you zip the ball about quickly. You try and drive players out of position, and the speed of the passing to drive players out of position has been nowhere near good enough. You often hear the likes of Pep Guardiola, that's his big call all the time. Move it quick, 1 or 2 quick touches, because packed defences, what they want is you to slowly but surely pass it, because they know where to be.
Fagner gets it from Willian. That's a little bit quicker. Coutinho. Marcelo now joins the attack. Marcelo looks up. Neymar, left corner of the penalty area. Still goalless. Neymar just outside the box. Back with Coutinho. Oh, interception. No. I was half expecting the interception to come from Oviedo. Willian's kept the ball in play. No, he hasn't. It'll be a throw.
I'm not sure. I don't think I'm with the assistant in that one. I thought he actually managed to keep that on in there. I think it was good bit of the ball still in. Yep, he did. Assistant referee got that completely wrong, but then he was some distance away from it. He was at least a whole yard away from it. Got it wrong. Ball was still in the pitch.
If you pardon the pun, do you know what the highlight of the afternoon has been from the Seleção?
Go on.
these little gift sets that they gave all members of the media, and it's a normal pen. It's got Brazil on it, and at one end it's just a normal pen, at the other it's a highlighter. It's a commentator's dream.
It is. And you know what they've done it for? It's a lovely little package that they've got, and there's a notepad, etc. And they're doing it to keep the reporters on side, really, aren't they? Because it's coming from the Brazilian FA. Do you know what? You're wasting your time, lads. If you don't win the game, you're going to get slaughtered.
They might need to produce some more gifts, because this hasn't been good from Brazil in this first half. Underperforming. Lacklustre against Switzerland. Underperforming here. Costa Rica created the best chance. They come forward, but a plodding Venegas is unable to keep the ball in play over on that far side in the sunshine here in St. Petersburg. Marcelo's going to take the throw, but we've got 7 minutes to go to half time, and Tite is going to have to try and come up with something a little bit special in words of wisdom to try and inspire these players, because pedestrian, no penetration. Coutinho, Marcelo, left-hand side for Brazil, in the shadows of the stand away to our right. Cross out towards Willian, level with the penalty area. Willian on his toes. Cross diverted behind by Oviedo for a corner kick. 0-0.
That's much better, you know. Willian gets the ball on the right-hand side there. At least he tries to go past the player, and that's exactly what you want them to do. If you do that, you drag players out of a tight defence, and gaps begin to open up. That's just not been happening anywhere near enough from this Brazil side so far.
Willian with the out-swinging corner from the right-hand side. Paulinho went down there off the ball inside the penalty area. They were appealing for a penalty. In the meantime, there's been a real offside. Surging run over on the right-hand side by, I think it was Guzman, looking to try and play out Urena, but he was just caught offside.
Yeah, same tactics, the simple tactics. It's not a complicated one. Defend really deep, and when you get the ball in good, if you get good possession, make sure 2 or 3 of you break it pace. And they do look pacey, Costa Rican side, particularly on the right hand side. There's not much coming from the left hand side. In fact, there's square root of nothing coming from the left hand side, which is a real disappointment, because Brian Ruiz is a very, very good player, but I don't think he's anywhere near the pace that's needed to get beyond this defence in the right hand side. In fact, there hasn't been troubled at right back in this is it 5th game for Brazil?
Yes. 4 or 5 minutes to go to half time. That lung bursting run, by the way, was by Gamboa on the right hand side.
Again.
Interception by Brian Ruiz for Costa Rica. Rides one challenge over the halfway line. He's been pulled back there by Willian. Good refereeing, by the way, by Bjorn Kuipers of Holland, because Willian did pull Brian Ruiz. He tried to let the game flow, and now he's brought it back for that foul inside the centre circle.
Well, just a replay of the claim for a penalty kick in the box there, and there's no doubt at all that Duarte, he's actually held on, but you know what, it's one of those ones that is 10% of what was happening to Harry Kane the other day.
Yes. BBC Radio 5 Live, still 0-0. The horns being sounded in St. Petersburg. There might be a few whistles from the Brazilian supporters if it stays like this in a few more minutes' time, as the Costa Rican fans are waving their flags in their red shirts in the sunshine on that far side. Coutinho dropping deep. Marcelo collects the ball and now comes over the halfway line. Neymar quickly challenged, holds onto the ball, goes back to Coutinho. You've got Casemiro in the centre circle. He's not needed. He is now, because Thiago Silva will find him. Fagner, the right back. Willian hugging the touchline on this near side. Casemiro, Coutinho scoops it out into space. Marcelo, left-hand side. Brazil threatening now. Marcelo with a shot. Navas makes the save. Navas is a good shot stopper. You can shoot from distance all day long. It's going to be something special to try and beat him from that distance.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for the Brazilians, they have got some pretty special ones. Coutinho and Willian and Neymar, they're all capable of that. And Marcelo, as much as anyone, I have to say, I think Marcelo's had a good game as well. His liveliness, his attitude has been absolutely fine. No problem there whatsoever. It's just there's not been enough players just like him. When the Neymar thing is actually quite infuriating, because each time he gets the ball, if it doesn't happen for him and he stops and he rolls over, his body language is, again, if he wasn't one of the great players, well, just say, it would drive you nuts. It really annoys you, because it's complaints the world's against him, turns to the referee. Get on with it, get up and show a good attitude, but Not today, so far.
I'm not Brazilian, but I'm feeling frustrated by this Brazilian performance. 3 minutes to go to half-time. Fagner with a cross from the right-hand side. Comes in, and Keylor Navas will comfortably make that save. No one making the run towards it. Easily gathered in inside his 6-yard area.
It's worth underlining to the listener, I mean, they've still got about 60, 70, maybe even more percent of the play just now. They've got all of the ball, but, you know, they're not doing a huge amount with it.
Now, Venegas tried to get away from Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva showed his strength, held him off, won that particular duel to Marcelo. Well, Coutinho left it towards Miranda. Miranda was just coming across back into a central area of that penalty area to stroke it out towards the right-hand side. Willian towards Jesus. Paulinho now makes the break. Right-hand side. Neymar in the penalty area. First-time cross, drilled in low. Jesus is the one to retrieve it on the left-hand side. Brazil playing in all blue. Coutinho, left corner of the penalty area, cuts inside. Casemiro can't get there. This will be Willian. He's held up a little bit. Willian now to Casemiro with his back to goal, flicks it back. Fagner midway through the Costa Rica half. Casemiro just in from the touchline on the right hand side. Still 0-0. This is Willian. Fagner, right hand side once again. The white shirts are back. Willian turning, unable to try and release the ball. Snapping at his heels was Guzman and doing a good job. Thiago Silva strokes it to Marcelo. Infield, central area. He almost gave it away. Brian Ruiz might nick it. Marcelo passed the ball back towards Miranda. I think that goes down as a lucky escape. Neymar on the left-hand side. Costa Rica working very, very hard and battling for everything. They've given the ball away, though, to Coutinho. Coutinho comes inside. Behind him is Casemiro. It's a square ball. Fagner chips it. Diagonal into the penalty area. Offside. Flags up. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that was offside. The ball was in the air an awful long time. But that was the first moment, 42.5 minutes into the game, and that's the first time in the game that Costa Rica have slightly over-committed going forward, and it looked really dangerous for them. I think the manager, Oscar Ramirez, he'll be furious about that, because it's been completely controlled up until now. When they have broken, it's only been 2 or 3, maybe a fourth man sitting in midfield, but the back line has stayed steady. On this occasion, far too many went up, and they were almost caught out. But it's only one mistake I would suggest that they've made in the entirety of this first half tactically.
Still 0-0 as we approach the break. We're inside the last 60 seconds of normal time. Venegas, no foul. Urena, Brian Ruiz just beaten to it by Miranda as he tried to make a run right-hand side of the penalty area. Marcelo's done well to keep the ball in play. We'll find out how much added on time there will be. There might not be any, because Casemiro had a bloody nose, did come to the side of the pitch, so there was hardly any treatment for Casemiro.
I get a feeling they're 1 minute the absolute most here, because it's, you know, the ball's been in play the vast majority of the time. Usually it's been, you know, a player wearing a blue shirt, but then usually it's not been doing anything beyond that defensive line of Costa Rica. Give them a due. They've played really well, they've been structured, they've been organised, and they've stayed to their task.
Neymar tries to go around the back left-hand side. Challenge made by Gamboa.
Well, Gamboa's right to complain there. He's shouting the ball and saying, you know, Neymar puts the ball behind him, he's hit it far too far in front of him, and then Neymar throws himself to the ground. Now, if that was a dive, you've got to argue that's a decent shout for a yellow card.
We're inside the additional 60 seconds of added on time, and it's still 0-0. Urena holds the ball up on that right-hand side. Fouled by Miranda. Free kick, just in from the right touchline. Level with the penalty area. Send the big men forward here. What a time to score for Costa Rica. It'll be the last kick of the half.
Yeah, they've not had that many opportunities to get the crosses in and go and attack it. When Brazil have actually had chances of corner kicks, they haven't looked dangerous at all in an attacking sense. Well, let's see if the Costa Ricans be any better. Well, certainly, as you say, all the big men are up there going to attack this, and certainly the fans that are over there, they believe there's a chance on here.
So Guzman's going to take the free kick just in from the touchline right-hand side, level with the penalty area, and it comes now. It's deep. Oh, it's too deep. 1, 2, 3, 5 white shirts to aim for inside that penalty area, over the head of everybody. Half-time whistle is sounded. There are a few cheers there from these Brazilian support, not at all enamoured with that performance. They did have a goal strike the back of the net, but it was disallowed and well offside by Jesus after 27 minutes. But the best move of the game has actually come from Costa Rica, when Borges put it wide after Gamboa's cutback. Kelly, Brazil have got 45 minutes to really turn this one around. Otherwise, like Argentina, they could really start to feel this pressure in Russia. 0-0. And Brazil have made a change, thanks you, Kelly. And Willian is the player who has been sacrificed, and Douglas Costa is the player who has come on that right-hand side of the three. The Juventus forward, explosive he can be. He needs to be, because Brazil need to deliver in this second half. There's an F word that you would normally associate with Brazil, flair. Haven't seen anything of it. I'll give you another one. Frustration.
I'll give you another one you may have to think about. Firmino. I think he may have to come in at some point, because there's been no core to the central attacking areas. Nothing wrong with Gabriel Jesus. He's played well, but he's run well. He's just not getting the ball. So
Brazil in the all blue, from right to left as we look here in St. Petersburg, goalless at half-time as Neymar out to Marcelo. So they've got Alisson in goal, a back four of Fagner, Silva, Miranda and Marcelo, the defence, as Marcelo's cross is pulled a little bit and drops towards Brian Ruiz and clattered around that far side. You've still got Casemiro and Paulinho and the two in the centre of midfield, and then you've got Coutinho, and you've got Douglas Costa and Neymar with Gabriel Jesus. Keylor Navas is in goal for Costa Rica. A back three of Acosta, Gonzalez and Duarte, Gamboa the right wing back, Oviedo the left wing back, Guzman and Borges in the centre of midfield, Venegas and Ruiz supporting Urena. White shirts and shorts, a little bit of black trim on the shoulder of the Costa Rica players. As here is Marcelo, not full by any stretch of the imagination here in this impressive arena, but those who are in yellow are up on their feet and singing and trying to urge on their stuttering stars. Neymar, left-hand side, level with the penalty area, waits, can't deliver, goes back to the bald-headed defender Miranda, strokes it forward, and this is with Fagner. Out towards Costa on that far side, the right, comes inside, lent into a little bit, little drag back by Paulinho. Jesus side onto goal, back towards Paulinho. Very good goalkeeping by Navas. Ball clipped back into the penalty area. Neymar can't force it over. Navas makes the save. But the reason I say it was good goalkeeping by Navas, because a Costa Rica defender just touched it back to him, and it could have been such easily an own goal had he not had the presence of mind and the footwork to quickly dig it out.
Yeah, nice little 1-2s there. The Brazilian players working together, shock. That's what's the difference there. Really zippy, really sharp. Ends out with half a chance to Neymar. No complaints with Neymar there. He's done well to get into the far post there. But once again, Navas was tight to it. But I think you're right there. The most important point of that move was Navas making sure that he got his feet right and cleared the ball. It was zipped him for no more than a yard and a good pace, and he still managed to get it away.
Remember the other day when that chance fell to Raheem Sterling and he couldn't adjust his feet. Navas didn't have that option. He had to adjust his feet, because otherwise Costa Rica would have been in trouble. England, of course, are in action on Sunday. It's 1 o'clock. It's live on BBC television. But of course you will have the opportunity to listen to John Murray and Chris Waddle via the red button and watch the pictures at the same time. Always an option every time a live game is on BBC TV. So that'll be the case a little later on for our next two commentaries on the good old wireless. BBC Radio 5 Live. Cross comes in. Jesus! It's the crossbar! Fagner the right back, floated over the cross. Jesus still here for Brazil. Coutinho! Deflected wide.
Welcome to the World Cup, Brazil. That's much more like it. 3 or 4 minutes of brilliance there. Great chances, and they're playing at a better pace now.
Coutinho this time turns, edge of the area. Coutinho into Neymar. Neymar able to turn. They're just starting to ramp up the pressure. They needed to as well, because they were so much off the pace in the first half. It's still goalless Costa Rica, just starting to be stretched a fraction.
But remember, just at the start of the first half, they had good first 5 or 10 minutes now. At the start of the game against Switzerland, they were very, very good at the start. Let's hope this isn't our first few minutes and then they fall off it again. They have to play at that pace all the time to put pressure on the Costa Rican defence so that they start making mistakes and get dragged apart.
Neymar curls in the cross from the left-hand side, and Gonzalez getting in front of Jesus to head it behind. It's a corner kick. Now they're jumping up and down in their yellow shirts behind that goal away to our left-hand side. BBC Radio 5 Live here in St. Petersburg. And a very pleasant afternoon where the sun shines. Neymar curls it in over the head of Miranda and volleyed away from the heart of that defence by Duarte, picked up by Fagner. Fagner comes forward now, the right back. He's got two players out towards his right-hand side. Casemiro is one of them, and that's charged down the cross behind for a corner kick. Starting to knock on the door now.
Do you think there's a chance that Tite said to him, do you know what, guys, you could be getting out of the World Cup here if you're not careful? That all they would need is one break from Costa Rica. They could be in real trouble. So they're trying to get that goal up, and it's a much better start to this second half.
So Brazil have a corner kick on the right-hand side as they play from right to left. It's swung over, flying header out by Brian Ruiz. It'll be collected by Coutinho, back to Fagner, the right back, just drops inside his own half. Marcelo outside the centre circle, and now laid back to Marcelo by Casemiro. The two Real Madrid players can't pick out the run of Neymar, easily stabbed away, and then it's Gamboa who lifts it long for Costa Rica. We're quite happy just to sit back and frustrate this Brazilian side. Given away, that was a little bit sloppy by Casemiro. Option to come forward with Johan Venegas. He'll win a throw on this near side, the right. Talks of a rift in the Costa Rican camp ahead of this game, Pat Nevin, but you wouldn't have known it the way that these Costa Rican players have applied themselves.
No, a good spirit about them, and it just gets harder and harder and harder to play that way through the entirety of a game, because it just needs to get A, mentally, or B, physically tired at any one point, and there's enough quality in that Brazil side there to take advantage of that. So it's all very well, very few chances in the first half. Just after the second half, there were 3 or 4 chances created by Brazil. If they keep on playing at this place, they will create many more, Brazil.
Douglas Costa plays the ball slightly behind Fagner, so he's got to go deep inside his own half to collect it. Here is the captain for the day, rotating his captain's armband for each game. Marcelo it was for the opening fixture. 1974 and 78 was the only time where Brazil have drawn their opening 2 games to a World Cup final. They have such a good record. They've reached at least the quarter-finals in the last 6 World Cups. However, if they don't get the 3 points today, they might not make it out of the group stages. Neymar, edge of the area. Marcelo with the outside of his left foot clips over the cross, and it just arcs its way and curls and drops behind for a goal kick. By the way, the last time that Brazil failed to go beyond the group stages, 1966.
Yeah, it's still a long way from that at the moment, but it is there. It's a kind of cloud in the sky for them. Just for a moment there down the left-hand side, you've got the quality of Marcelo and Neymar running towards the Costa Rican defence. However, they did defend really well. You get 3 players, really closed them down very quickly, and that's why there was this desperation to put in an early ball. We're just seeing a few of those little chances there in our monitors in front of us here. They have come very close at the start of this second half, Brazil.
Costa Rica are going to be making a change. Christian Bolaños is going to be coming on, and he's going to be replacing Marco Urena. Now, Bolaños is a midfielder. He was a real doubt ahead of these World Cup finals. He actually wasn't expected to feature against England at Ellen Road in one of the warm-up games, but he did. He did come off the bench in West Yorkshire that night because he has had a problem with ankle surgery. He had it in March and he was really sweating. But Bolaños is very experienced, 84th cap for his country, likes to get forward as well. He was the joint top scorer in qualifying, so he is a key player, but essentially he's a midfielder. So just to see who is now playing at the focal point of that attack. I wonder if it's Venegas who's gone forward, because Bolaños seems to be operating on this right-hand side, and indeed that appears to be the switch that has been made by Oscar Ramirez. 0-0, Pat Nevin.
Well, it's intriguing that his first major move is actually isn't. I thought for a moment it's going to be a negative one. It's not a negative one, because you're absolutely right. Bolaños wants to get forward and he's played on this right-hand side, and you're right, they've not taken off a striker. They've just moved Venegas a little bit further forward.
You can just start to feel the mood in the stadium from the Brazilian supporters, where they're not. I'm only 10 minutes into the second half. There's still time, but they will feel just a little bit of anxiety emanating from those in yellow here. They're far from full St. Petersburg arena.
I think they know. I think the fans know that great start to the first. Well, fairly good start to the first half. Fairly good start to the Switzerland game. Really good start to the second half here. But then it's faded away time and again. They do not need that to happen again. Absolutely not. They want to put pressure on this defence, Costa Rica defence, because as you say, they're well organised. They always play the same way. They know what they're doing. They're going to be hard to break down.
Jesus out to Douglas Costa, comes in now off that right touchline, one little step over, and then Brian Ruiz has helped double up, and Costa Rica have seen off that danger, as Brian Ruiz will hold on to the ball, rolls it back. Brazil putting a little bit of pressure, picked up by Paulinho as they win the ball back, right hand side, there's Neymar! Oh, from the cross from Paulinho. Neymar's effort was touched over by Keylor Navas.
Can't believe he's not got it right on target in the corner there. It's come to him at some pace there, but he's only 7 or 8 yards out. Now we've got to give that a good save to the goalkeeper then.
Corner kick to Neymar, wants to take it quickly. Was he back the full 10 yards, Guzman?
Not a chance. So I wonder if he's giving it another corner kick. He's going to move it to... Nope, giving it another corner kick, a retake.
So 0-0, 11 minutes into the second half. Brazil starting to apply a bit more pressure. Neymar with the out-swinging corner, headed up and away by Borges. It's going to come out now towards Gamboa. He had Balianos making a bit of a break on the right-hand side, but Brazil have nipped that attack in the bud with Casemiro and Marcelo, but it's broken down. And Borges to Balianos. There's a break. Venegas is going ahead. Costa Rica on the attack. Borges is just starting to strike clear, and the substitute Balianos couldn't get the ball out. He was looking up. He's actually apologised now as Brazil will come forward. Game starting to become a bit stretched now. Coutinho midway through the Costa Rica half. Paulinho helps it out to Douglas Costa, right corner of the penalty area, goes into the penalty area, plays it back, Paulinho tees up Coutinho, Navas spills it, then dives on the ball. Better from Brazil.
Much better. When they get any space at all, they seem to use it really well. They've had very few opportunities when they've had space, but it would appear Costa Rica are trying to push on a little bit. That play you're talking about, Balianos, since they come on much further forward, there seems to be a little bit of a dent in the right hand or the left hand side of this Brazil defence, and of course everybody knows Marcelo doesn't play in the defence. He's a left back, but he doesn't defend, so there's a gap behind him.
It's his third World Cup. He's 34 years of age, very experienced, but he's got deceptive pace, but he does like to get forward. And the thing is, from that last attack, if he could have just spotted the run of Borges, who was running through the midfield, there might have been problems. So they've still got to be wary of the counter-attack, have Brazil. It's 0-0, and after drawing their opening game, when you don't get those 3 points on the board early on in a World Cup, there is then no margin for error, as Argentina have found out to their cost, and Brazil are now, they've got 32 minutes to try and break the deadlock here in St. Petersburg. 5 live, 0-0. Balianos. Marcelo will go with him, right-hand side, down towards the corner flag, wins a corner.
He's made a difference, hasn't he? He's absolutely made a difference since he's come on. Balianos, and it tells you that Costa Rica want to try and go out and get the 3 points if they possibly can here. And what's also noticeable, that as Marcelo goes forward, Casemiro's been pulled further and further back to cover that play of Balianos, as he's going to break at pace, and I think he's definitely got the legs of Marcelo.
Balianos to take the corner kick on this near side to right, mainly all white. Costa Rica playing from left to right as we look here. Right arm aloft, Brian Ruiz makes a little bit of movement inside the penalty area. Neymar's gone down off the ball there. There was a push and a shove. I think it might be with Oscar Duarte. In fact, it was.
He was just basically shoved off because he was trying to block him. And of course Neymar just went flying to the ground as if he'd been punched. He wasn't. He just pushed a little.
A coming together which the Dutch referee has sorted out. Although has somebody spoken out of turn? Because Neymar now is being called towards Bjorn Kuipers. Right, oh, I do like him. Do like this referee. Yeah. Shows his authority, no nonsense, get on with it. Balianos with a corner kick, didn't beat the first man. Headed out, collected by Gamboa, it's a teasing ball played in, headed up, hasn't been dealt with yet. Duarte's missed it, a little bit of a scramble. Badiolios is there, the acrobatic clearance by Marcelo. Neymar's away, he's over the halfway line. Douglas Costa streaking through the middle, if he can find him. Here is Douglas Costa, couldn't bring the ball under control. He's kept it alive. 30 yards out from goal. Is he going to shape to shoot? No. Finds Coutinho. Out to Jesus. Left corner of the penalty area. Jesus, couple of step overs. Jesus has the shot blocked. It was by Johnny Acosta. And we're past the hour mark now here in St. Petersburg. Well, it was a poor first half. Brazil struggled, but the very nature of what is at stake here, where Brazil have got to ideally get the victory of their final group game, all of a sudden now it's being ratcheted up in terms of the tension and the drama, even though it's still 0-0.
Another big part of it, the fact that Costa Rica, I mean, they're sitting in there on 0 points, they need a win as well, so they've had to be much more open in the second half. They've made the change, it's a positive win. It has, as you correctly say, lengthened the game. The problem is, if you lengthen the game, that creates more space, and I just get the feeling that's going to suit Brazil that little bit more, because their players can make good use of it. Once again, Neymar on the left-hand side, he's having a real good battle. It's enjoyable to watch, just him against Gamboa. Gamboa's dealt with it well, but he's now beginning to feel his hamstring. See him struggling a little bit here on the right-hand side. Yeah,
and in the sunshine here in St. Petersburg, there's under half an hour for somebody to try and provide that light for Brazil in order to see them through and give them a little bit of a more of a firm standing in Group E, because at the minute, nothing at all to offer them any sort of encouragement when you've got Serbia still to play. In the latest World Cup daily podcast, we've got a very unhappy Pablo Zabaleta, not feeling at all enamoured with his side after they lost last night. It's a World Cup daily podcast that is vying with its #1 slot for Love Island. I can imagine Ricardo Setillon, if Brazil don't win tomorrow, being far from happy with either Kelly or Mark tomorrow morning to download from your usual provider. And of course it will have that interview with Gareth Southgate that Kelly was talking about ahead of Sunday's game, that is live on BBC television and on 5 Live, and you've got the option to listen to the 5 Live commentary through your red button, as you will have at 4 from Volgograd, Nigeria against Iceland, and Serbia-Switzerland at 7 in Group E. But 0-0, this is Group E. Brazil, after drawing against Switzerland, being held here by Costa Rica. Douglas Costa, Wagner, the right back, level with the penalty area. Coutinho, central, midway through the Costa Rica half. Neymar, he's going to shoot, it's low. Keylor Navas, well, he spills it, spoons it away from himself, but picks up the loose ball. Pat Nevin.
I think he was under control of it. He knew where the problem was. There was no players running in to follow up on the ball, so he just makes sure it goes wide of the goal, goes and collects it. But you can feel it around the place now. You can feel it not only in the stands, but you can look at the players, and there's a tension growing within the players. They've all realised it now. These are big moments in the World Cup for both of these sides now. And there's both of these sides. Absolutely the case at Costa Rica. Just a moment ago I'd said that, with the right back, Gamboa was struggling a little bit. He just went in the right hand side and almost got to the byline. So both teams are trying to play players forward, and it all seems to be happening mostly in this near side beside us. So it's either Neymar against Gamboa, but also breaking behind him the new winger that's came on, Balianos.
Gamboa, who, if you remember when Ronaldo scored that free kick to equalise, ball played forward, flag stays down, Venegas beaten to it though by Alisson. That was good anticipation by the goalkeeper, all in green, and a bright green away to our right hand side. And Ronaldo just tucked up the side of his right shorts, didn't he? Gamboa's actually done that with on both legs, so you can see his thighs. So this energetic right wing back for Costa Rica, as it's still 0-0. Marcelo goes short and in field on the halfway line. Coutinho, Casemiro, Paulinho's more advanced now for Brazil, all in blue, playing from right to left. Wagner the right back, Douglas Costa just in from the touchline, comes in field, white shirts bow back behind the ball. Everybody is back. Defeat for Costa Rica and they're out. A draw keeps them alive to see what will happen in the next game in Group E. Coutinho waits, Neymar, left corner of the penalty area, Neymar crosses the ball in, and in the end it was Paulinho who just tried to get on the end of it with an outstretched right leg. He's actually given away a foul, given away a free kick with a foul. 0-0, Keylor Navas in no hurry to take it as the minutes tick by. 25 minutes remain, 5 Live, 0-0.
Yep, and you can feel the tension. There's a lot of tiredness in that back line from Costa Rica just now. You know, they will get more and more tired, and this competitions are like that, you know, particularly World Cups. There's a lot of games in a short period of time. It's the end of the season anyway, so the last 10-15 minutes of games are going to give away quite a lot of goals, especially as you go further on in the tournament and you're beginning to see it in that back line of Costa Rica. They're getting tired, but they're still not giving away that many opportunities yet.
Russia 2018, 5 Live, your World Cup station. And here we are in St. Petersburg with Douglas Costa in the sunshine on that far side. Back to Fagner. Thiago Silva helps it on its way. Miranda, first time. Miranda over the halfway line, now across to Marcelo on this near side. Neymar midway through the Costa Rica half. Marcelo on the overlap, not required. Neymar comes inside, looking up, plays it in field, along the ground, and Casemiro. Fagner has joined the attack. Douglas Costa waits, offering width, right-hand side. Comes back in field, works over a left-footed cross. Slice clearance by Duarte with a flick of the right leg. Balianos is back to tidy up, plays it back to the corner of his penalty area. Jesus will challenge the defender, who is Johnny Acosta, runs off the legs of Jesus and out for a Costa Rica throw, goalless.
I just think that change will have to be made soon. I'm looking down, I keep on looking down. Well, he is going to make a change. Is it the one that was expecting to be made? Yeah, Firmino getting ready to come on, because again, nothing wrong with what Gabriel Jesus has done in the game, because his movement's been great, but his hold-up play hasn't been fantastic, and they almost need a focal point of that, so that it gives the opportunity to certain players such as Coutinho to get involved in the game.
Ball spread out high and wide, left-hand side. Oviedo goes in field. Brian Ruiz with a cross in towards the penalty area, hasn't been dealt with. Miranda, not for the first time but a second time, with 2 vital interventions with his head. Still the ball bobbling around in that penalty area. Flag's up. As it was played back in, it was punched away, but the flag had been raised.
Yeah, but it's a big chance, wasn't it? When the ball was played in the first time, I think Ruiz was actually in a very good position with a real good bit of space there. And if the ball had just been half an inch higher, he might have got on the end of it and had the first touch. Really unlucky there. That was a very dangerous break. And I think Brazil, we can officially say, are going for it now.
So Paulinho is the player to make way for Roberto Firmino, who's just had the best season of his career with Liverpool. 27 goals plus 17 assists. Roberto Firmino midway through the second half. And Brazil needs some magic from somewhere, because they're being held here by Costa Rica. 0-0. Thiago Silva, Coutinho, Firmino with his bright orange boots wants to get involved straight away. Brazil all blue. Marcelo left-hand side. Incredible to think that Argentina may not be going through. Brazil struggling here. 2 points would certainly leave it uncertain. Firmino can't hold on to the pass that was threaded through by Coutinho. As Costa Rica go long, Alisson's out of his penalty area, heads it forward to Thiago Silva. And then you got the Germans tomorrow, who we saw lose to Mexico, so they'll be a side under pressure. The ball's played through. Here's Neymar. Neymar into the penalty area. Superb defending by Oviedo.
Yeah, fabulous. He had to read that. He had to time it perfectly. He knows he's against Neymar, who's got sparkling pace as well, and he knows that if he slightly times it wrong, Neymar will take every opportunity to throw himself to the ground, but he didn't. He timed it right, but it's still a corner kick.
Corner kick to Brazil, goalless. Just over 20 minutes remaining on 5 Live. Neymar over on that far side, the right, takes it. It's an out swinger. Thiago Silva was forward from the back. Costa Rica will clear. Drops down, Marcelo, central area of the field. Venegas has gone down. Here is Jesus. Jesus on the edge of the area. Acosta is with him. He pulls it out to Douglas Costa. The blue shirts are queuing up. Douglas Costa plays it on the far side. Casemiro drills it in low. Turned behind by Duarte for a corner kick. But there will be a delay to the proceedings, because Venegas has stayed down.
And to be honest, there's been plenty of players in this tournament so far that are throwing themselves to the ground to try and waste time. The Costa Ricans have generally not been like that, but on this occasion the referee's just walked over and said, go off or get up. And he's just got up.
Another corner kick. Costa Rica have everybody back. It's another outswinger. Casemiro with a header straight at Keylor Navas.
Great opportunity there, and every single one of the Brazil players are thinking, why didn't I stand right in front of the goalkeeper there? You'd have had an easy tap in, just deflected it the other direction, but they are again knocking at the door, not creating a whole host of chances. The problem is it's still that possibility of a break against them, because they've got plenty of pace going forward. They look better in the second half, Costa Rica, than they did in the first.
Well, forget Costa Rica. I'm not too sure how the Brazilian fans here are going to be able to Copacabana with the pressure, because their side are really under here in the next 17 minutes. BBC Radio 5 Live. 19 minutes remaining, and Costa Rica with Brian Ruiz can't spread it out towards that far side and Venegas, because that was closed down by Casemiro, who's now on the ball midway through his own half. But they've given it away, and there is Brian Ruiz. Never ever flaps when he's in possession. Nice little turn. Borges forward. Venegas makes the run. Support from Gamboa will come on the right hand side. Venegas waits, right corner of the penalty area. Behind is Brian Ruiz. Looks up. The white shirts now are forward, and it's Brazil who have everybody back. Duarte takes it into the penalty area. So he's come forward from the back. Can Brazil take advantage? Douglas Costa break down in communication there with Firmino. They both left it for each other. And with that hesitation, it looked like they were going to try and, with Guzman, exploit that where Costa Rica. Here is Marcelo. Coutinho, short of the halfway line. Ball forward towards Jesus. Cut out. Neymar takes on the ball. Neymar puts it wide. The little touch by Gamboa just created that opening for Neymar, who buries his head in his shirt, because as he ran forward, he fired it right-footed, but he fired it wide. 0-0.
That was his moment. That's the one he's been waiting for. He's got himself out. He's 20 yards out, yeah, but it's Neymar. He's precisely where he wants to be. Bad mistake there in the Costa Rican defence. It's one of the very few times in this game so far that they've put so many players up. Just seconds before, you said they were the team in the attack. And they have to take chances now. They need a win for this game as well. But Brazil looks so good on that counter-attack, and Neymar can't believe it. When he left his foot, he thought that was going in the net. It's not. It just curled past the post.
It could be a rather bleak day for South American football. Certainly a worrying afternoon, because in our next commentary we've got Nigeria against Iceland. An Iceland victory, Argentina really are in a spot of bother. That's from 4 o'clock in Group D. Serbia play Switzerland at 7. This is in Brazil's Group E. Serbia win, they reach the knockout stages. But again, Brazil would be sweating going into that final game against Serbia. It's a game that would be doing, Pat Nevin.
To be fair, if you're a Brazilian, look at that table beforehand, you're thinking, well, Costa Rica, that should be okay. Switzerland, yeah, that should be okay. Serbia might be tough. They're utterly reliant. If this stays like this, for the next number of minutes, they're utterly reliant on going out and beating Serbia. Serbia could be all qualified, but then, even so, they are sweating. There's no doubt about that.
Activity down below. There's going to be a change for Costa Rica, and Francisco Calvo is the player who's going to be coming on. Now, he played as the left wing back in the first game instead of Oviedo, so we'll wait to see what the change. He also could be a central defender as well. But he's been a regular for Costa Rica in the build-up to these games. He's played in 27 of the last 33. 16 minutes remaining. Brazil still being held here by Costa Rica. Marcelo plays it forward. Coutinho. Johnny Acosta will see it back. Keylor Navas quickly dives on that ball in the penalty area. 16 minutes remaining. 16 minutes of drama. Because Brazil, it's a story either way. If they get the winning goal, then they've finally broken the deadlock. If they don't, they only get a point, they're sweating. If they concede, then they're in big trouble, as Neymar gives away a free kick for a silly foul on Venegas. And now we'll wait to see where this change is going to come.
Yeah, he just wasn't strong enough, really. Neymar did. He was favourite for the ball. He should have actually held on to it. He didn't manage to do so. And he's given away a free kick in an unnecessary position. Killed a few minutes. And then again, we keep on saying that point. Costa Rica want to win as well. They would love to score a late goal, and they're going to try and go for it. let's see. I think they're changing the system around quite a bit here, so we'll keep an eye on that.
Well, you mentioned it, Pat, that Gamboa has been struggling feeling his hamstring. I said that Francisco Calvo plays at left back. He does, but he's actually gone in at right back to replace Gamboa on that far side, but he certainly won't be able to venture too far forward as much as Gamboa has. Here is Firmino coming forward now. Firmino tries to thread it through to Neymar, comes back to Firmino. Firmino lays it off towards Douglas Costa, midway through the Costa Rica half. He finds Neymar inside the penalty area, tries to place it off his right foot, strikes the legs of Johnny Acosta and diverts behind for a corner.
Yeah, but what fabulous first touch there from Neymar. He kills it stone dead there, and he tries to fire it through the player's legs, doesn't quite get there. If it goes through the legs, 99% of the time it ends up in the goal.
We're inside the last quarter of an hour. Neymar with a corner kick, easily dealt with, headed away by Gonzalez at the heart of that Costa Rica defence. Back with Coutinho. Off the ball. Was that a little push by Guzman? No. Neymar falls to the floor. Referee booking. If you fall into the floor, booking. It's the only way to stop these antics. Long ball up towards Balianos, gathered in by the goalkeeper Alisson.
And the Costa Rican fans are furious. They thought Alisson was out his goal there when he caught that ball. I don't agree. I think he was absolutely spot on the line. He knew what he was doing. But you're absolutely right about Neymar. It drives you nuts. The referee said they were going to be harsh on the diving. They have not been harsh on the diving. In fact, they've been incredibly lenient.
And they're trying to deceive the officials, and it's becoming incessant now.
Well, it's becoming accepted. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's becoming the accepted norm, and the referee can stop that.
Marcelo won't get past Acosta. Well, actually, he didn't do too bad. It required a sliding challenge. Brazil with Coutinho, gathered in by Keylor Navas. The cross from Coutinho was the outside of the right foot, so it was drifting rather than delivered with pace.
Yeah, needed to be zipped in with pace. By the way, any referees that are furious out there, if I'm blaming them, trust me, I blame the player more.
Well, actually, the ball just struck Neymar in the face. I'm surprised he didn't fall to the floor then. He rocked back on his heels.
It's probably the hardest he's been hit today, and he still stands up.
Oscar Ramirez, 53 years of age, in his suit, bushy moustache. Not pacing as much as Sampaoli of Argentina, but he is moving around in that technical area, because he knows this would be an important point for Costa Rica against Brazil. 1978, the last time that Brazil drew their opening 2 games in a World Cup. Douglas Costa, Gabriel Jesus flicks it, Neymar still going, pulled back, was he? Penalty! There was contact. He falls to the floor, does Neymar. His arms are open wide. And now Brazil have an opportunity to try and find a way through past Costa Rica, who protest. But there was a tug. To the naked eye, there was a tug.
Do you know what? He had lost his balance. It all happened amazingly in slow motion, because he got, I think his first touch wasn't good in this time, but he managed to keep himself in balance, turned away, but he'd lost his balance. He was falling backwards already, and it needed the slightest of touches, and it was no more than the most minimal. We've seen a second position here. Oh no, I don't want to give it. I wish he would go to the referee. Is going to look at the VAR. I am delighted with that. This is when you want VAR to work, and I would not be surprised if he changes his mind.
Well, I've got to say, to the naked eye, the referee, by the way, now has actually gone to the side of the pitch. So this is him looking at it at the mouth of the tunnel. To the naked eye, I thought it was a penalty. I've seen it again, and I don't think it was a penalty. But this penalty is now under review.
He's just about to give it. No penalty.
No penalty. Now show him the yellow card. Show him the yellow card, referee.
You know, finally VAR has worked fabulously well. Neymar had a dive just a few moments ago. This time his stomach has basically been touched, but there's no tug. So what he's done is he's thrown his body backwards. Do you know what? He conned the referee, he conned you, he conned me, he conned just about everybody else in this stadium. That is why we brought in VAR. And do you know what? Well done, it worked then.
But why wasn't he booked? He should have been booked.
I'm with you on that one, 100%. It's long overdue. I think possibly because he's Neymar.
Well, I promise you drama, and we've certainly got it here, because the penalty after the VAR review has been wiped out. It means that Brazil with 10 minutes remaining, are still looking for that way through. 0-0 here as Neymar comes in off the left touchline. Neymar, challenged by Venegas, keeps his balance eventually. Casemiro, Costa Rica still working so hard. Here is Casemiro, forward of the centre circle, manages to wriggle away from Brian Ruiz. Firmino goes back, Thiago Silva switches play, Neymar's in field, creates the space for Marcelo, left corner of the penalty area, Marcelo, Neymar, 25 yards out from goal. Showed too much to Guzman, who's gone down with cramp, I think. No, he's slowly getting back to his feet, is Guzman. Marcelo, arms tucked in, blocked by Costa, and Costa now falls to the floor.
Yeah, try to kill too much time now, and I mean, to be honest, he's nowhere near that injured, and Neymar's now been booked.
Neymar's now been shown a yellow card for dissent. Coutinho has been shown a yellow card for dissent towards the Dutch referee. Actually, I've got sympathy for them, because his arms were tucked in. It only struck his arms. You can't be winded if it strikes your arms.
Do you know, it's one of those ones, the sadness that players now abuse the situation. He's gone down there. You would like him to be told to go off the field just now. He's not. They've carried on, and it's 11 against 11 again.
He threw the ball down in disgust as the cross worked over by Marcelo, punched away by Keylor Navas. Douglas Costa, right-hand side, 9 minutes remain. Douglas Costa with the cross. Stopped by Calvo, volleyed away by Guzman. Battling for that ball was Venegas, loses out to Thiago Silva. Brazil under pressure here, being held by Costa Rica. What a story that would be.
Do you know what, you sometimes say the referee needs eyes in his back of his head in some games. Well, he does in this one. Fortunately, he has with the VAR.
Oh, that was a needless foul. Referees played the advantage. That was from Guzman, just took out Douglas Costa. Coutinho, edge of the area. Marcelo, left-hand side. Marcelo with a cross, stabbed behind. Kept in play. Balianos has actually sliced it, and it's caught by the goalkeeper, Keylor Navas. That wasn't a back pass.
Yeah, Neymar shouting the ball and saying it was a back pass. I tell you what, Neymar, even you couldn't pass the ball backwards with that. You've not got that ability. But all the way through the team, you see the Costa Rican players, whether they are or not injured, they're very difficult to tell. They are going to ground, they're staying down just now. There's a complaint over there that there's an injury, but make your mind up. Are you going to stay on the pitch or are you not? They're killing every second. They've just got over 8 minutes or so. You've got to add another 5 minutes on top of that at least.
They're going to make another change. Yeltsin Tejeda is going to be coming on, plays his football in Switzerland. He was a key player for them 4 years ago. He's going to replace Guzman. Guzman, who was on a yellow card, he's been struggling with cramp, so this will be like for like. He's taking all the time in the world to come off, is David Guzman. But the referee will add it on.
Well, hopefully, the big hopefully he'll do that. You just look at this moment, the tension that's around this place, the excitement that you have at the end of this game just now. And how sad it would have been had this game been decided by a dive by Neymar, of all people, because he's been doing it all the way through this game and all the way through the tournament. That would have been awful. And it almost happened. It just about happened there.
But like you said, we were conned. We thought it was a penalty from a high vantage point here, but VAR worked a treat. Never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, well, I have. It's been a fan. I know there are weaknesses, but that's why we have it. That's the moment we have it for.
It's still 0-0. Argentina sweating in Group D. Brazil, likewise, will be sitting rather uncomfortably if it finishes like this. You think of Brazil as a yellow card is being shown now to Johnny Acosta for time wasting, but you think of Brazil in the group stages. They've lost 3 of 64 games in the World Cup when they've scored first, but they haven't been able to get the goal, and as a result they really are struggling here to try and find a way through. Douglas Costa, Brazil with Neymar forward now. Firmino hasn't been able to get into the game. Neymar plays it across towards that far side. This is Fagner towards Firmino, comes back to the right back. Neymar lurks, early ball in from Neymar, penalty area, Firmino on the stretch, cleared away by Gonzalez, headed back by Thiago Silva. Here was me hoping for an easy game to rest the voice, it's not happening. Marcelo, Douglas Costa swapped, he's out on the left hand side, cross takes the deflection, spins up in the air.
Do you know what?
Brazilian
The problem
media are
is,
going to have a field day, Pat.
yeah, the problem is they're not playing.
Coutinho shoots from distance. Keylor Navas with a save.
We just stop there as Coutinho. When Coutinho gets on the ball and he's 30 yards out, you need to stop. But the pace that Brazil are playing out now, that's absolutely fine. They've done it for 20 minutes or so. Problem is they didn't do it for the first 45, and they're paying the price for that now. It's desperation now. Whereas they should have tried to win the game early on, and it's as if they expected it to happen. They were too relaxed about it, and they could pay the penalty.
Brazil have been faltering in this game as Douglas Costa gives the ball away again. That proud record of reaching the last 8 for the last 6 World Cups is going to come under real pressure. Marcelo, fancy little turn. Ball play through, Casemiro to Jesus. Neymar is there, Jesus gets the shot away. Keylor Navas with a smothering save.
Yeah, they're trying to work neat little 1-2s in there, but there's so little space. They're trying to go through the centre of that defence, and to be fair, that Costa Rican defence has held up incredibly well in this second half. They've been really tight. They've went to 4-man, 5-man sometimes defence, really tight inside the kind of the width of the goalpost some of the time. So there's no space there at all.
This is going to be Brazil's worst run. In fact, it will be a match their worst ever run in a World Cup when they went 4 games without a victory between 74 and 78.
But that was an awful Brazil team then, it has to be said. This is far more talented group of players that are out there.
Coutinho out to Douglas Costa, under 4 minutes of normal time remain. Right corner of the penalty area, step overs into the penalty area. Casemiro straight at Keylor Navas, well positioned by the goalkeeper.
Yeah, the goalkeeper's what he's had to do. He's done very, very well today. Gets behind it. Having said that, it's one of those ones, if he let that one in, you would be absolutely furious. Not dissimilar to the one De Gea let in earlier in the tournament. However, no such mistake from Navas.
And this would also be the first goalless draw in Russia 2018. 5 live. Nigeria, Iceland to come from 4, followed by Serbia, Switzerland from 7. Both on BBC TV. Oh, no. Marcelo has put his hand up, and Johnny Acosta has gone down, writhing, holding his face. That was pathetic. That was Rivaldo-esque.
Yeah. Do you know, it's so infuriating. I mean, players who throw themselves down and try and waste a bit of time. It infuriates you, but you can understand what they're trying to do. But when they blatantly cheat sometimes. Now, you've seen that much clearer than me. You've got 2 Costa Rica players lying down there as if they're both knocked out, stone cold. Do you reckon both of them are going to get taken off?
Duarte did get a blow to the back of the net from Neymar as they went for the ball.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
he pushed his forehead, but if he's gone down the way like that,
as if he's got concussion.
Honestly, that is pathetic.
I would really love him to get a yellow card for that. It would be fabulous if a referee yellow carded him for that. I mean, why that is in any way acceptable? I was going to say in football, in any sport, in any walk of life, just cheating and slimy.
Well,
have we said enough yet?
I think so. Duarte's being held to his feet. I mean, look at that. Acosta's having a word with Marcelo.
To be honest, Neymar's gone over there and saying you're a disgrace. I mean, seriously. Come on, there are some people that are allowed to go and say that, and some people that aren't.
This is Neymar, who almost got away with calling the referee as he was we thought he was took back to win the penalty that was thankfully ruled out through VAR. The words black kettle and pot spring to mind. Neymar chips the ball in. Navas punches the ball away. 90 seconds remain. The officials...
No, get up, keeper, get up.
It's Navas this time rolling around. The crowd inside St. Petersburg Stadium here are livid because the time wasting and the antics are just constant.
Do you know, and the thing is, it takes just one referee to come down hard in one of the games. There was an earlier game where Cristiano Ronaldo dived, didn't get a yellow card, and everyone's looked at it and thought, right, we can do this now. There was a game last night, the people rolling up, the players rolling about. It was an absolute disgrace. He actually might have a bit of a sore jaw there, but there's nothing wrong with him now. He's standing up, it's fine, he's going to get on with it. And it's just tiresome now that anytime anyone gets the tiniest little knock, they throw themselves down. If you think you can get away with cheating, you kind of almost will as a player, and it's too easy now for it.
It is tiresome. Now, eventually, when the ball is back in play and we can restart, my watch says we've got 30 seconds remaining. 30 seconds of Brazil 0, Costa Rica 0, and then we'll wait to see how much added on time.
It better be at least 6.
We're looking at, I think we're looking at least 5. Well, let's have a look, see what the... I can see that. Can you see the board down there, Pat?
Just see the corner of it. Can't quite see the number yet.
Brazil on the attack. Still 0-0. Casemiro into the penalty area. And it'll be cleared away by Tejeda. Venegas will give chase. Miranda, 6 minutes. Oh! Venegas almost got away from Miranda. There was a foul. Free kick to Brazil. So 6 minutes of added on time. And it's still 0-0. Brazil drew their opening game. It would leave them on 2 points. Serbia play Switzerland at 7. Who would have thought that both Argentina and Brazil would be in such positions? Marcelo with a cross. Firmino with a downward header. Arriving! Coutinho! Saves the blushes for Brazil! Coutinho running in! Breaks the hearts of Costa Rica! It is a last gasp goal for Brazil! And the deadlock broken in injury time. They have got out of jail big time.
No, they certainly get out of jail. They've had most of the play, they've had most of the game. Certainly the second half, Costa Rica have looked good, or slightly threatening on the break, but they were getting more and more tired. There was eventually going to be some chances near the end of this game. Those 6 minutes, when that ball was put up, that must have looked like an absolute eternity to those Costa Rican defenders. And do you know what? After all the intricate play, it's a big ball to the back post there, nodded down, they follow through. And I'm trying to see, was it Firmino who nodded the ball down? Bringing him on there near the end, and I think there was a touch, probably Gabriel Jesus as it goes through. But I think that's as much got to do with the brilliance of Firmino getting to that back post. Nods it down to his ex-Liverpool teammate Coutinho. Sighs of relief after the roar from these Brazilian fans.
Firmino with the header. Tite, the coach, took a tumble as he celebrated down below. The Brazilian fans all in yellow. Some of them are taking off their shirts and swinging them around their heads here in St. Petersburg. Jesus couldn't bring the ball under control, but his touch just lent itself for Coutinho running in to guide it in the first minute of the added-on 6. Jesus is coming off, and the player who's coming on is going to be Fernandinho, just to shore up the midfield.
And a very sensible decision to make that change now. You quite clearly just put Firmino up front, he'll hold up the ball, and that was maybe one of the complaints we were making in the first half. There was no core to the play going forward, you know, it was going to Jesus, it wasn't being held up. And again, simple things, ball played up long, Firmino's decent in the air, nods it down, and has to be said, the touch from Jesus, it's not a fluke, it was a cracker. However, game not finished now, should have been a free kick in the edge of the box there for Costa Rica. They're not getting it. Brazil are on the break.
Brazil will go top of Group E. They will have got the 3 points to take their point clear of Serbia, but it has been a hard fought victory, and they're now going to just hold on to the ball and play out time. The tension has been eased, punctured by that goal from Coutinho. 2-2 in this World Cup for Coutinho. Firmino into the penalty area. Here is Neymar, stopped in his tracks by Gonzalez. Fernandinho, the boys in blue, the boys from Brazil, will just hold on to the ball now. 2.5 minutes remain, and the Olays are coming out, but this hasn't been a performance to Olay. It's been a performance to test the patience of a saint. Here is Marcelo. Neymar. Firmino makes the run round the back. That was clever. Firmino in the penalty area, looks for Coutinho. Back to Firmino. Oh, that was more like Brazil, but put wide. Goal kick, 1-0.
Wow. Absolutely gorgeous play, wasn't it? Absolutely beautiful play. I mean, to be honest, Brazil would play that all the time if they scored an early goal, and they could enjoy it and they'd play that way, but they've not been able to do so. There has not been a lot of space for them to play that way, and they've actually not been an enjoyable side to watch the last parts of the game today. But that was beautiful.
Just goes to show, though, doesn't it? Everything is all about the results at this stage. If they reach the quarterfinals, as they have for the last 6 World Cups, nobody will be caring what happened and how they've struggled to break down this Costa Rica side as they continue to keep possession. And we have about 70-odd seconds remaining by my watch here in St. Petersburg. because all of a sudden now the mood has been lifted through that Coutinho goal. For those, whether they're from Sao Paulo, Belo Horizonte, Rio de Janeiro, Recife, Salvador, Costa da Sauipe, it will not care where you have travelled to watch your side here in Russia. Brazil are up and running in 2018. 1-0. They've struggled at times, they have toiled. Douglas Costa now, they're pulling out all the tricks. 1, 2, 3 little step overs. Casemiro.
To be fair, Costa Rica haven't touched the ball in these 6 minutes hardly. Maybe one little break, no more than that. Complete control from Brazil.
Marcelo round the back, on the overlap, drills it in low and hard and turned behind by Oviedo for a corner kick.
Yeah. To be honest, there's been two different matches here, hasn't there? The 6 minutes of injury time, the other 90 minutes beforehand. The 6 minutes of injury time from Brazil have been fantastic. Utter domination of the play, nice little flicks and tricks, good movement from all the players, no throwing themselves to the ground, none of that stuff at all. And of course, not a bad goal as well on top of that.
Costa Rica are going out. Surprise package 4 years ago when they topped the group with Uruguay, Italy and England. There will be no repeat. That was brilliant by Neymar lifting it over the head. Douglas Costa, now Fernandinho will win it back on that far side. Here is Douglas Costa. We've seen both sides. As here is Firmino. Sides to frustrate, and then sides the odd glimpse of a little bit of flair as well from these Brazilian players.
I think we may see a replay of that little flick there by Neymar. It's a kind of a version of the donkey kick, flicked over the back of the defender's head. Now, a lot of players can do that, but you generally don't do that in the World Cup finals, do you? Unless you're Neymar.
Ball in between both legs, flicked it up over his head and took it away from Tejeda. That was delightful, as it was in the first half when he beat Gamboa with a little lift over a looping ball over the head. Few and far between, in between his other antics of going to ground far too easily. Charged down by Firmino, loose ball picked up. Charging now is Casemiro. Casemiro at the heart of the Costa Rica defence, plays it in. Douglas Costa, Neymar, 2-0. Neymar from close range, couldn't miss. 2 goals in injury time have given this a flattering look to the scoreline as Brazil have beaten Costa Rica by 2-0. Neymar with a second.
When Brazil broke there on the halfway line, got the ball on halfway line, got halfway inside the half, it was an absolute stick on the Neymar was going to score there, even though it took 3 passes to get there, because every single pass would be played right by intelligent players. They were drawn, defenders were drawn, the ball was flicked in there to the wide area there, and you knew that he would be able to find Neymar in the middle. There was never any doubt. About 10 seconds before that, maybe 5 seconds before that goal, it was going to be a goal, it was going to be Neymar. These guys know how to play these situations.
We've actually been playing for nearer 8 minutes now here in St. Petersburg. They broke the deadlock in the 91st minute. They've just added a second through Neymar. Neymar, who you might remember was so instrumental for them in the last World Cup. 4 goals in 5 appearances before he broke a bone in his back in the quarter-final against Colombia. And as the game restarts, Costa Rica just had to throw everybody forward. They were caught out. They were caught cold for the second goal. Costa Rica are going home. Brazil have gone to the top of Group E, but 2 goals in injury time tell the story of how they have struggled here against Costa Rica. But they're up and running, and that's all that matters, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, that's all they'll think about just now. They didn't play terribly, but they weren't creating enough chances, particularly in that first half. They had to up the pace. They certainly upped the pace a little bit in the second half as we watch on our monitors here. Neymar in tears, actually, kneeling down in tears. It's hard to explain and understand why he's doing that, but anyway, he seems to be very upset, overcome with the fact that they've actually got out. Maybe it was on his mind that they were on the verge of going out. I'll tell you what, had they gone out, he was the one that we'd been pointing the finger at. So many stories involved in this game. A vast majority involved Neymar.
Neymar overcome with emotion, and Kelly Cates back in our studio in Moscow. He has been comforted by about 4 of his teammates down there. Costa Rica are the one who need consolation because they are going out. They're going home in the group stages. But Brazil, hard work.